The latest with Lauren LaRosa.
Sometimes you have facts, sometimes you have details, sometimes you have a little bit of everything.
Well, it's the latest.
On The Breakfast Club.
Talk to me.
So we want to take some time to send a rest in peace and just pay respects and tribute to Malcolm Jamal Warner, Emmy-nominated actor, musician, poet, father, husband. He was, of course, beloved for his role as Theo on The Cosby Show, which earned him a nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series at the 30th Emmys. He also starred in the sitcom Malcolm and Eddie. In 2015, he received a Grammy Award for Best Traditional R&B Performance for the song Jesus' Children alongside Robert Glasper. In 2024, June of 2024, he decided to launch his podcast, Not All Hood. And he talked a lot about why this podcast was so special to him because it's centered around discussing the lives and experiences of Black Americans, which he was really big on doing and platforming. So I want to, right now, let's take a listen to Malcolm talking about why he was so excited about fatherhood and being a husband. Let's take a listen.
So I met my wife, I was 45, and I spent more of my adult years in long-term relationships than not.
Stop it.
Is that supposed to be in the back of that?
I know.
Can y'all pull up? Can y'all grab the right audio? He's pointing at you to get the right audio. Jesus Christ.
So I met my wife, I was 45, and I spent more of my adult years in long-term relationships than not.
Okay.
But when I met my wife at 45, I was like, I got it. Everybody says, when they say, when you know, you know. And that always sounded, and being in these long-term relationships, that always sounded like a really cool concept. But when I met my wife, after a couple months, I was like, oh, that's what when you know, you know. I get it. But when I think about, had I gotten married any earlier, I know I definitely would not have been as effective a husband and father as I am now.
Yeah.
That was when we actually did his podcast, me and my wife Gia, we would, from our book tour, but he was just talking about how much he loved his wife and how much he loved his daughter and how he enjoyed being a father. And that was like the highlight of his life at that time.
Yes.
Doing those events, going to the school and doing the things like that. And that's what we would really sat there for 2 hours and just discussed that. Me and my wife and him just discussed being a father and being in a relationship. So solid, good brother, man.
Yes. And when we talk about, I know you guys were talking about earlier when we opened the show this morning, just about kind of like some of the circumstances. I do want to just fill in some of that of like what happened as well, because we talk about like family. You guys were talking about family vacation earlier. Malcolm Jamal Warner was on a family vacation in Costa Rica with his family when the drowning incident happened. So people for sure, y'all were talking about sending prayers yesterday. I know for me that was one of the first things I did when I heard the story was pray for his wife and his daughter. And what's also insane is he talked a lot about the fact that he waited because he wanted to make sure that he got it right when he became a dad. He became a dad later in life. And there was a moment on his Instagram that he shared. It was from his daughter's birthday where he had like this sunflower in his ear. And people were like, why you have the sunflower? He began to talk about, let's take a listen. He talks about his relationship with his daughter a bit more.
Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. I just wanted to shout out and just spread some love and some good cheer. And, life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like if you just take a minute to stop and take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile. And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile. Find a smile for yourself and be a reason for someone else to smile. That's all I got. Listen to love because it's been a minute. Peace and love, and I'll be back soon.
Man, blessings to that brother, man. I'm telling you, man, we spend all this time trying to avoid potential dangerous situations just so we can prolong this thing called life. And this brother was just out with his family on vacation, doing something we all do when we on vacation, swimming, and something tragic like that happens, man. Yeah. Life is not promised to anybody.
Yeah.
Now, they said, I I guess when it happened, somebody else was taken to the hospital. Was that a family member or that was just a random person?
That person hasn't been confirmed as a family member. They're just being listed as a second individual from the reports that I saw. They were injured during the incident. According to the Costa Rican Red Cross, the second individual was rushed to a local clinic and is in critical condition. Their current condition as of right now is unknown. But yeah, of course they're doing their investigations, trying to figure out more of what happened and all of the things. But Malcolm Jamal Warner was declared, dead at the scene, and then this person was taken to the hospital.
Wow.
Man, really pray for that brother, man. Before you run to social media and post about how this situation makes you feel, take the time to really pray for that brother, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Take the time to really pray for that brother's family. I know we feel like we knew Malcolm Jamal Warner because of the roles he played, but that was a man with a real family who knew him in a real way, and they are going through it in ways that we don't understand. So take the time to think about them before you think about yourself. And I was thinking about his father, man, because he spoke about his father so much and how much his father, poured into him, and now his father has to bury his child.
Yeah, and he actually sat down with Melissa Ford, and he talked a lot about his relationship with his dad and his legacy that he wanted to leave. We have that clip. Let's take a listen.
Life, it's fragile, and in the blink of an eye,
You never know.
you never know. So speaking of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is going to be?
Man, because I'm 54, I think about that a lot. So it's interesting. I remember my mother said to me one time that Mr. Cosby gave you immortality.
Facts. That is very true.
Right? So I know on one lane, there's legacy there. But also because my life, those former years were always about life beyond Cosby, right? So I feel like, okay, there's that legacy there. But then because I've had this full life, after that show, there's another lane of legacy that I get to leave. And I'm still working through that.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
You just got to live and be intentional about living. Be intentional about being a good person.
Yeah.
Because you want to be a good person. Being a good person doesn't mean, bad things won't happen to you. You just hope they won't. But being a good person doesn't guarantee that. So you just got to be a good person for the sake of being a good person.
For humanity, that's right. Rest in peace. And again, condolences to that brother's family.
That is so sad. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the latest with Lauren. In about 10 minutes, we're going to replay the interview when he came up here. He was the first guest in our new studio.
January of 2023.
And we're going to get that back on. He was so appreciative of that, of both interviews. He came up here, of the conversations, and we played his music. He was so excited. And he just said it just sparked so much conversation, so much talk online. And we're going to get that back on. So don't go anywhere. Front Page News is next. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Your mornings will never be the same.